Today, we will be talking about LinkedIn and networking strategies. Two of these career skills that align with LinkedIn include communication, because you have to have a really good communication style to communicate with professionals, employers, alumni, and others on LinkedIn. You also have to have a sense of professionalism, what you say, how you talk about yourself, and the way your picture looks even on your LinkedIn profile. So these are the two different career skills that we'll focus on in today's presentation. So what is LinkedIn? Whether you already have a LinkedIn account or are new to LinkedIn, we're going to go over some of the basics. So LinkedIn in and of itself differs from other social media networks. It focuses more on the connections with people in a professional capacity versus personal, and also promotes a better understanding of a particular career path and position. It allows you to connect with people worldwide that you may not ordinarily know in everyday life. It also provides a free, online, visible portfolio of your work where you can showcase all of the different things you've been working on to a worldwide audience. In general, think about LinkedIn as an extension of the experiences on your resume. There are so many people using LinkedIn. Recent statistics say that over 1 billion people use LinkedIn worldwide. You can see some of the different countries associated with the usage of LinkedIn, the United States being one of the top. Some additional statistics here. 95% of recruiters use LinkedIn to find potential candidates. There are about 8 people hired through LinkedIn every minute. Think about how many people that would be every week, every month, and every year. But only about 50% of job seekers are actually active on LinkedIn, connecting with professionals, updating their profile. Think about how many more people could be hired through LinkedIn if their profiles were complete. So now let's go into a little bit more detail about how LinkedIn is different from Facebook, X, and other social media platforms in general. Why exactly do you think you might need another social media account? So let's take X for instance, formerly Twitter. Think about X as being more of like a cocktail party. You're talking to everyone and anyone. Some people are talking way too much and others aren't listening. Others listen but maybe don't talk too much. And it's a revolving captive audience. Lots of chatter to keep up with and information. Facebook is more like a living room gathering. You don't invite everyone from the cocktail party into your living room. Typically, you're just sharing more of your personal information, whether it be photos or life updates, to your close friends and family. So think about Facebook as being more for those stronger relationships, people that you trust, you consider friends. LinkedIn is different. It is a professional networking type platform. Everyone on the site is a professional for some reason. People have and are looking for jobs on LinkedIn. You might be looking, and in the future, you may be actually searching for candidates using this platform. You also can use LinkedIn to learn a lot about different career paths by kind of dropping in onto other people's profiles and learning about the path they took. In general, though, it is helping you build a bigger network so that you can get connected to the careers of interest a lot quicker. So does everyone see the difference? Now let's go over some of the LinkedIn profile sections. When you are building your LinkedIn profile, you want to make sure you have the most full profile possible, but it doesn't mean that if you only have an 80% profile, that you are not close to completion. There may be certain sections that do not relate to what field you're in or experience you have. So do as much as you possibly can, working towards that 100% profile completion. Let's start with the photo. This is one of the most important parts of your LinkedIn profile. Your face is the focal point. This is a lot of times your first introduction to many professionals in the world. So make sure your image is clear, nothing is distracting, and you're also professionally dressed. When you look at these two images on the right, you'll notice that the top image is blurry. She's also not professionally dressed. It's more of a modeling type shot, so not as professional for a general audience. whereas the individual on the bottom is professionally dressed. The picture is clear. The face is the focal point versus the rest of the body. This would meet with a lot of different types of professions. This is what we're looking for. Also note that the Career Center has a photo booth called Iris that you are welcome to access Monday through Friday and get free photos for your LinkedIn profile. Let's talk about how to write a headline. So in a headline, focus on your professional career self, not so much your current student profile, unless your student profile associates to the career field you want to go into. So it's okay to be specific. So a bad example, for instance, would be UNC Charlotte student. Why? Because there are lots of you on campus. You have to be a little bit more distinct. Let's look at some good examples. You can put as many different characteristics in your headline as necessary, but think about maybe 3 to 5 that really describe your skill set, your career field, your expertise. So in this case, nuclear engineer, mechanical engineer, leader and entrepreneur, elementary art teacher, illustrator, painter, urban designer, architect, landscape design. Why these headlines are so important is this is one of the ways that a lot of recruiters will search for candidates. If a candidate is looking for an illustrator, the fact that this person had that in their headline would potentially pull them in a particular pull for a list for illustrators. So making sure you have those keywords in your headline is extremely important. Now let's talk about the About section. This does not have to be extremely long. It can be a short paragraph, maybe a few sentences. This is a quick snapshot of your career interests, your goals, your mission. It's how you promote your professional self. And you can also show your personality. Are you a little bit more funny or serious? And you can include some interests if they're relevant to the field you're wanting to go into. Here's an example of one of our staff members on campus. I am a higher education and student affairs professional seeking to create equity and access for individuals through workshops, professional presentations, and postgraduate employment opportunities. I seek to educate companies and organizations about diversity, equity, and inclusion to reshape their values and culture to assist in recruiting the next generation. We have a general idea about what Tamika does based on this particular statement. You think of your own statement. How would you want to frame what you do and the skill sets you have? Now let's talk about experience. So on LinkedIn, it's a little bit harder to tailor a profile since you only have one, especially if you have hopped around different jobs or you have a variety of experiences. For right now, just focus on those professional internships, jobs, part-time jobs, co-op opportunities, things like that. You want to make sure that you have the organization's title, your job title specifically, the date range that you participated in this event, the location, and just as on your resume, have bullet points describing what you accomplished in that role. If your role was project-based or you have visual documentation from your work, please attach that. Employers really value being able to see some examples of your work to see if you are a good fit for their organization. The next section would be education. This is where you can list even high school education if you would like to. It's one way that people can find you on LinkedIn is by connecting with you through your academic experience. So feel free to list your college if you go to graduate school, as well as other types of training that you've done. Make sure you spell out the entire name of the school, your full degree titles, date ranges of when you were part of that institution, the location, and you also can include your GPA, projects, and so many more campus activities if you would like to under the description. These things are optional. Another section that is used a lot by recruiters is the skills section. You can actually list as many skills as you want in the skills section, and people can endorse you for these skills. But you also have to choose your top 3 main skill areas that will be highlighted on your homepage when someone initially looks at your profile. In this case, this individual chose Revit, design research, and AutoCAD. If I was just briefly looking at this profile, I would guess that this person probably is in architecture just because of these skills. So make sure your skills that immediately show up on your profile really do resonate with the career field that you want to go into. Additional sections that are not required but are encouraged are things like honors and awards, other types of courses that you've done, projects where you can go more in depth about different things that you're creating, and so many more sections that you may want to add based on your experience. Recommendation section is a really good option for a lot of recruiters who want a quick snapshot of how you work with others and how you might lead or work within a team setting. So make sure you have some recommendations in your profile by reaching out to those key faculty and supervisors when you're building your profile. So let's talk about how to utilize LinkedIn effectively. So part of the profile strategy is make sure you're demonstrating your skills and your talents and your experience in depth. This is a place where you can go a lot longer. You don't have to be limited to 1 or 2 pages within a resume, for instance. You can also engage in discussion with other professionals. Think about this is very much like a chat space where you can drop into someone's conversation, you can email them through this platform. It's a wonderful way to engage with people you may not know in your general setting. Again, post examples of your projects and your work. Allow other people to see the skill sets that you are building. Again, receive and give other professional references. Really good way to build up that credibility. And also think about just how you're creating your online professional brand. If someone were to Google you, will your LinkedIn profile come up immediately? When you think about how to use this specifically, let's think about how to reach out to people. So initially, when you're building your platform, connect with people you immediately know, professors, peers, alumni, friends, family, and then start thinking about those other professionals and careers of interest, maybe people you don't know as well. Start joining groups within LinkedIn. Find different interest areas and start joining these groups to build your extended network. Again, you can also get recommendations from faculty or supervisors or peers on who to also reach out to. They may know alumni, for instance, who graduated many years before you were in school, but also have entered the career of interest. Also think about how you can promote your own events or share articles, information, very similarly to when you are sharing personal information on your personal social media accounts. You can also learn a lot about organizations through LinkedIn. Go to their pages, go to their websites, learn about their culture, their values, their mission, and you can also explore their employees who are also on LinkedIn. Finally, you can search for jobs, internships, whether it be even remote, hybrid, or in person. There are lots of different ways that you can search for jobs by location and different types of levels. So use all of the different filters that LinkedIn gives you to narrow down your search. Please know that there are different types of connections on LinkedIn. So for instance, when you start connecting to friends, family, professors, and peers, those connections will be first-level connections. The people they know will then be second-level connections to you. It's easy then to connect with those second-level connections because your friends already know them. And then your friends of friends, you will then have their third-level connections. Anything beyond that, you won't be able to see on LinkedIn. So normally you will get a message that someone is a LinkedIn member, meaning you have no relation to them whatsoever. It doesn't mean you can't reach out to them, but it does get a little bit tricky when you don't have a first, second, or third connection. This is why breadth is so important. The more people you know on LinkedIn, the more people you'll be able to connect with because everyone knows everyone. So let's talk about a little bit of etiquette. When people are sending you messages, make sure you are responding in a timely manner. Try not to wait longer than 24 to 48 hours to respond to someone who's reaching out to you over LinkedIn. Make sure you also keep all communication professional. This is not a place to use texting type language. This is a place to use that professional communication skill. Also, add a personalized message when connecting with someone. This is done through adding a note. You're limited to a number of characters, but it's a really good idea to always use this because a lot of people that you might be reaching out to, they may not know who you are. And if you provide a quick note, it gives them some context. Also, be proactive and give recommendations to others. Again, the more recommendations you give, the more you will receive. Always be truthful in your profile information. And also remember, not everyone will want to connect with you on LinkedIn. Try not to be offended by this. Some people are just not as good on LinkedIn as others. So try not to be offended, but continue to network and connect with new individuals on a continual basis. So let's talk about some strategies about building those first round. Again, think about the friends, the family members, professor, or other university staff, classmates that you're around on a normal basis. How many can you connect with today? How many could you connect with on LinkedIn this week or this month? It starts adding up over time. You would be amazed at how many people who you just know in your immediate group. And then finally, we talk about the second round. These are people maybe at your workplace that you don't know well, maybe different peers that are in your internship but you don't interact with on a normal basis. It could be those university alumni who went into a career of interest, but you still have not connected with them. Could be professionals in specific groups or organizations on LinkedIn that you find. It also could be those connections of connections. You might want to connect with a third connection, and all of a sudden that third becomes your first. Again, and this is also a very safe space to reach out to people you don't know, especially those in careers of interest. Nothing is outside of reach. If you find someone that you want to connect with, please connect. Don't be intimidated or scared that you're reaching out to this individual. You would be surprised at how people love to connect with others and also talk about what they do. So be courageous. If you need additional help with LinkedIn, we are here to help. You can always stop by drop-ins Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. during the academic year, and get help with your LinkedIn profile. You can also use our Iris photo booth to get that professional photo for your profile. You don't need an appointment for drop-ins. Again, you can just drop in. We are in Atkins Annex right next to the main library. You can also find a lot of additional help on career.charlotte.edu, as well as following us on social media. I hope this session was helpful to you today, and we look forward to seeing you soon at the Career Center.